Hi, I'm Justin Paperny, and I'm here today with my good friend and colleague Michael Santos, and we're going to talk about life in transit. Welcome, Michael, and can we jump right in with some of the massive differences that exist between life in a federal prison camp and life in federal prison transit?
Sure. A federal prison camp is equivalent to doing time inside of a corporate environment. Now, what I mean by that is there can be problems, but they're unlikely to happen. Okay? You were in federal prison camp at Taft. There were about 500 people there. Out of those 500 people, I would submit that maybe 100, 150 are what you would call normal people. They're the people that live in your neighborhood. They're the people that work in your environment. But there's going to be another 350 people there that are different. When you get out of that camp environment, those ratios shift. Okay? So it's going to be significantly higher from 150 to 350 to more like you're going to be around 10 people out of 500, and 490 people are going to be 10 people are going to be people that you would live around and be around. There's going to be 490 of those people who really want to
what types of people
based.
What types of people? Are we talking murderers, rapists, any type of offender from the penitentiary down to the camp?
That's what I said. When you get into that environment, you're around every population level. You're around every security level, because the Bureau of Prisons operates as a machine. And so when it's in transit, everybody's mixed together. Okay? Everybody's mixed together at certain parts of the transit, I should say. If you're a minimum security prisoner, when you get into a place that you're going to be in for a couple of weeks, you may get segregated into a separate housing unit that only houses minimum and low security prisoners. But there are going to be times when you're in a cell block with 500 people, and some of them are serving life sentences from a USP. Okay? You may be in that block for 10 hours, 12 hours. But it's very tense because it's like sardines in a can. And it's fundamentally different from anything you've experienced at the camp. And that's a very good reason for you to be helping your clients understand the rules, understand why it's important to abide by those rules, and try to minimize your exposure to these more volatile environments.
I know it could be a wide-ranging answer. On average, at least in your experience, how long were you in transit, for example, when you went from the low down to the camp? Is it 3 days? Is it 3 weeks? Could it be all of those options?
No, that's when you go from. So generally, if you're going to a camp, you will get a furlough transfer. Okay, that means that you transfer yourself.
Right.
That's a local decision. That's going to depend on the warden, on whether the warden grants those furlough transfers. But I would say it's 50-50 that you'll either that you can get a furlough transfer. If you don't get a furlough transfer, it can take 60 days to get from a secure institution to a minimum security camp. It can take 90 to 120 days to get from a minimum security camp to a low security prison. Because if you get transferred for disciplinary reasons, they're in no rush to get you there.
And when I was in the federal prison camp, I had access to the phones every day, presuming that I had enough phone minutes left. While in transit, are there days where you might not have access to the telephone? I'm asking because if not, we want to prepare families, let them know there could be days without hearing from their loved one. So what is the access level to phone and email and those sorts of things?
Well, it depends where you are, okay? When you were in prison, it was different from now. Now many of the prisons have access to the email system.
Right.
But if you're in transit, it's quite possible that you'll be in a 23-hour lockdown situation. And if you don't have access to the phone, but maybe a couple of times a week, if that. It all depends on why you're getting transferred. If you have a communication issue in your as a reason for your transfer, you may not get access to the phone for several months. So it's kind of hard to give boilerplate information. What is important is for the family members to be an advocate, to understand what's going on in their loved one's life. And if something is out of the ordinary, they should use all of the tools and resources at their disposal to try and figure out what's going on and how can I help.
So I'm going to leave it at that today as we talk about life in federal prison transit. Michael, thanks for spending a few minutes to share your thoughts on the prison transit.